The Golden Age of Piracy, spanning from 1690 to 1730, marked an era of unprecedented maritime robbery along the high seas and colonial ports. This period primarily encompassed pirate activities in the Caribbean, America's East Coast, the Eastern Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. Notable figures of this time included the infamous Captain Kidd, the fearsome Blackbeard, and the successful Bartholomew Roberts. Even women like Anne Bonny and Mary Read made their mark in this male-dominated world. These pirates primarily targeted merchant vessels, occasionally daring to attack heavily armed treasure ships. As far as the Golden Age, this term, while evocative, poses challenges in defining its precise temporal boundaries. Scholars debate the exact time frame, with some excluding the earlier buccaneering period of the 17th century. Most historians place the start around 1690, though opinions vary on its conclusion. For our purposes, we'll consider the era spanning from approximately 1690 to 1730. However, it's crucial to recognize that piracy is not confined to this period alone. It has existed since ancient times and continues to this day in various parts of the world. Thus, any attempt to rigidly define the Golden Age of piracy is inherently problematic. Piracy, it seems, defies neat categorization, having neither a clear beginning nor a definitive end in the annals of human history. The concept of location in historical context is a multifaceted one, encompassing not only physical geography, but also the cultural and political landscapes of the time. While many regions across the globe experienced significant events during this period, the term Golden Age is typically associated with specific areas of activity. These primarily include the vast expanses of the Atlantic Ocean, the waters of the Indian Ocean, and the coastal regions of West Africa. It's important to note that other notable locations, such as the Barbary Coast and parts of East Asia, are often considered separately in historical and the question remains why piracy flourished in this particular era. The allure of a piratous life drew many experienced seamen away from the harsh conditions aboard merchant and naval vessels. Following the tumultuous period of exploration, European colonies beyond familiar waters were burgeoning with wealth and opportunity. These distant settlements, growing in size and prosperity, necessitated an increase in merchant shipping to sustain their needs. However, the vast expanse between these colonies and their mother countries left a vacuum of governance and military protection. This absence of authority created a perfect storm for piracy to thrive. Ports and ships, lacking adequate defenses, became easy targets for those who disregarded the consequences of their illicit actions. The promise of riches, coupled with the relative impunity with which pirates could operate in these far-flung regions, made the piratist life an enticing alternative for many who sought adventure and fortune on the high seas. The captains of pirate ships were often larger-than-life figures, known for their flamboyant style and fearsome reputations. While ordinary crew members dressed like typical sailors, captains often donned extravagant outfits to make a statement. Captain William Kidd, for instance, was said to wear a velvet coat adorned with gold buttons and a feathered hat. Anne Bonny, one of the few female pirate captains, reportedly wore men's clothing and carried multiple pistols. Some captains cultivated their notoriety through brutal acts. Henry Morgan was known for his ruthless attacks on Spanish colonies, while Ching Shih commanded a fleet of over 300 ships and terrorized the South China Sea. Others, like Bartholomew Roberts, established strict codes of conduct for their crews. Whether through fashion, ferocity, or leadership, these captains sought to create legends that would strike fear into their enemies and inspire loyalty among their crews. The ships used by pirates during the Golden Age were quite different from the grand vessels depicted in popular culture. Most pirates favored smaller, nimbler craft like sloops, which could outmaneuver larger ships and navigate shallow waters. These vessels were ideal for pursuing merchant ships, which were typically lightly armed and easy targets. However, some notorious pirates did command larger ships, both for prestige and firepower. Blackbeard's infamous Queen Anne's Revenge was a formidable vessel, boasting 40 cannons and a crew of 300 men. Captain Kidd's adventure galley was a purpose-built pirate ship, featuring a unique combination of sails and oars that made it versatile in various conditions. With 34 cannons and a crew of over 150, it was a force to be reckoned with. Edward England's Fancy, captured off Madagascar, was similarly well-armed and manned by around 180 pirates. Pirates employed various cunning tactics to attack their prey. They often targeted solitary merchant ships, especially when navigating narrow straits or near shallow waters and islands. This allowed pirate vessels to seemingly materialize out of nowhere. Another common ruse involved flying a friendly nation's flag to approach unsuspecting targets. The pirates' first weapon was fear, embodied by the infamous Jolly Roger flag. When hoisted, this black banner, adorned with a skull and crossbones, warned potential victims to surrender without a fight. Some pirates also used a red flag to signal no mercy would be given. For ships that dared to resist, pirates wielded an arsenal of weapons. Their vessels bristled with cannons of various sizes, while the crew carried an assortment of handheld arms, including explosives, muskets, pistols, and bladed weapons. However, pirates often avoided using cannons to preserve their prize and its valuable cargo, preferring to board and overwhelm their targets through sheer numbers and ferocity. Pirates were obsessed with acquiring valuable loot, with gold, silver, and precious gems topping their wish list. Coins were particularly prized, as they could be easily spent or traded. A chest brimming with Spanish silver pesos or gold doubloons was the ultimate prize. Failing that, pirates would settle for valuable cargo. Silk, rolls, spices, indigo, tobacco, rum, furs, hides, sugar, and other foodstuffs were all fair game. Crew members and passengers were relieved of their valuables and fine clothing. Pirates also snatched up useful items like weapons, navigational tools, and medicines. Even mundane nautical equipment such as ropes, sails, and anchors were taken to replenish their own supplies. In some cases, the attacked ship itself became the prize. While most pirate raids yielded modest gains, the Golden Age of Piracy saw some truly astonishing hauls. In 1698, Captain William Kidd captured the Quedagh Merchant, a treasure-laden vessel carrying silks, gold, and jewels worth over $60 million in today's currency. Each crew member's share was enough to retire comfortably. Kidd, however, met a less fortunate fate, eventually being captured and executed for his crimes. The largest single prize ever taken was in 1720 by Bartholomew Roberts. His fleet intercepted a Portuguese treasure fleet off the coast of Brazil, seizing an astounding £200,000 in gold and precious gems, equivalent to $180 million today. The booty was meticulously divided under the watchful eye of the quartermaster, with the captain and officers receiving larger shares. Despite popular myths, few pirates actually buried their treasure. Most squandered their wealth quickly on drink and gambling in port, leaving little behind but colorful tales of their exploits. Loot was also sold in pirate havens. Pirate havens were the sanctuaries where buccaneers retreated after their plundering expeditions. These hideouts were carefully chosen for their strategic advantages. The most notorious havens included Port Royal in Jamaica, Tortuga off Hispaniola, New Providence in the Bahamas, and Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. These locations offered secluded harbors, easy access to vital resources, and proximity to lucrative shipping routes. While remaining beyond the reach of colonial authorities, traders flocked to these havens, eager to purchase looted goods at bargain prices and resell them for hefty profits in legitimate ports. While pirates settled for less, they gained what they craved most: ready cash and ample alcohol. Some ambitious captains even struck deals with corrupt colonial officials, securing pardons and better prices for their ill-gotten wares. Pirate havens flourished during the Golden Age of Piracy, transforming from mere hideouts into bustling maritime communities. These coastal settlements offered a haven for buccaneers, providing all the amenities a seafarer could desire. Port Royal, infamous for its debauchery, boasted a staggering 100 taverns and earned the moniker Sodom of the New World. Its popularity among pirates endured until a devastating earthquake struck in 1692. New Providence Harbor, now known as Nassau, became a veritable pirate metropolis, hosting approximately 600 sea rovers at its zenith around 1700. Simultaneously, the island of Madagascar served as a base for an even larger contingent of 1,500 pirates. The decline of piracy was a gradual process, driven by mounting pressures from various quarters. Legitimate merchants, colonial settlers, and local rulers increasingly demanded action against the scourge of piracy that threatened trade and stability. The British government, recognizing the risk of losing its colonial holdings to foreign powers, was compelled to take decisive measures. From the early 18th century, colonies were granted the authority to try and execute pirates locally, streamlining the judicial process. In the 1710s, London dispatched new colonial governors with a clear mandate to eradicate piracy. These officials wielded both the threat of naval force and capital punishment, balanced against the offer of royal pardons and opportunities for honest work. Many pirates accepted these terms, while others were systematically hunted down. The introduction of cash rewards for informants, often former pirates themselves, proved particularly effective in dismantling pirate networks and hastening the decline of this once flourishing criminal enterprise. With their safe harbors under attack and fewer opportunities to sell stolen goods, the life of a pirate became perilous. Capture now meant certain death, as authorities abandoned leniency in favor of mass executions. Entire crews faced show trials, ending in gruesome public hanging. The sight of pirates swinging from the gallows became a common spectacle in ports and coastal towns. The most infamous buccaneers had their bodies displayed in iron cages, serving as a grim warning to would-be pirates. Even those who initially escaped the noose often found their fate merely postponed, as the relentless pursuit of justice continued. That's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and hit that like button and check out our other videos and shorts. As always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.